My beloved child, pause here for a moment. Let your shoulders fall as leaves fall when seasons shift. I know you are tired, not only in your body, but in the deepest chamber of your soul, the place no one sees, the place where you have kept standing even when part of you wanted to collapse. I do not come to measure you or ask why you have not done more or remind you of things still unfinished. I come like warmth on a cold hand, like light touching your eyelids before they open, like peace that arrives not through sound, but through presence. Breathe. Slow down. Let your heart sit. For I want to speak what your soul has sensed but has been afraid to name. A shaking is coming. Do not fear those words. This shaking is not here to destroy you. It is here to free you from what once felt like foundation but was only rope tying you to an old ground. It comes to loosen what is false so what is true in you may rise. It does not arrive like a wave meant to swallow. It arrives like my hand, pressing into dry earth so life can have room to sprout. You prayed to grow. You prayed to enter deeper into my will. This is the answer, not by fireworks, but by sacred trembling. Not by shouts, but by wind shifting. I do not shake the ground to break you, but to deepen your roots, to let what is not real fall away, to set you on the foundation I built. There were moments you thought preparation meant effort, planning, knowing ahead. But hear me, preparation is not tightening. Preparation is releasing. Release fear. Release the need to control. Release the demand to impress. Release the whisper that scolds you for weakness. You do not need to become stone. You need to become soft earth in my hands. Soft earth does not lose. Soft earth births seasons. Do not be alarmed if it feels like the soil of your life is cracking. Seeds only rise when ground breaks. I have seen every breath you held to keep from crying. I heard the silent ache in your heart before the ache even formed. I know the times you smiled outwardly while inwardly wondering, does anyone see how hard I am trying to stand? You do not need to try in front of me. I do not see with the eyes of the world. I see with love. And love does not search for flaw. I do not wait for you to be strong before taking your hand. I hold your hand so you do not have to be strong alone. When you tremble, I do not step back. When you wander, I do not lose track. When you ask me, when will it happen? I whisper, be with me first. The world will shake, and your life will shake too. But you do not stand in open ground. You stand in my palm. The storm does not come to expose you. It comes to reveal what is true in you. Where you once sought reassurance from people, you will learn to rest in me. Where you once feared lack, you will see I do not let you fall. Where you once tried to hold everything, you will find a greater hand holding you. You are not being pushed into darkness. You are being led into depth. Depth is not confusion. Depth is where roots touch water. Stop trying to manage the future before it arrives. Light does not come as a map. It comes as a step. I do not give you every detail because I do not want you to love plans more than me. I want you to follow breath by breath, step by step, voice by voice. Peace belongs to the one who does not chase answers, but follows the caller. Place your hand over your chest. Feel this, the heart beats without you controlling it. So too do I keep you without you knowing every move I make. Do not panic if those who once understood you now feel distant. Do not mourn if certain connections no longer hold. I am not isolating you. I am refining your circle. When I lift you, I lift the atmosphere around you. Some people belong to a past season, and that does not make them wrong. It only means they cannot breathe at the elevation where I am taking you. If a door closes, it is not rejection. It is protection. If your heart feels unsettled in old spaces, it is not failure. It is instruction that it is time to move. You are losing nothing real. You are simply releasing what no longer fits your shape. Do not cling to a garment that suffocates just because it once felt comfortable. Do not hold an old land simply because once it was still. Peace does not live in a place. Peace lives in my nearness. And I do not change, my dwelling in you when seasons shift or people change or earth trembles. Before you is new wind, not wind that tears away, but wind that leads upward. So now, inhale, exhale, and permit yourself not to know everything and yet be at peace. You are not being prepared to survive a storm. You are being formed to reveal glory after it. I am not training you to endure. I am training you to lead. You are not merely flesh. You are my intention, and my intention does not fail. You are beginning to feel something you cannot name, as if inside you a season is turning. Like leaves turning gold and falling without pain, but with quiet reverence. It is not loss. It is permission. Not surrender from defeat, but surrender because you know you are held. There are rooms in your heart you once feared to enter, memories you thought would break you if revisited. Yet now they rise not to frighten but to heal. This stirring is not a threat, it is invitation. When the soul becomes real, the body responds, heart beating slow then quick, breath soft then sighing, old memories arriving unasked. Do not push them away. Let them pass. Passing does not mean they rule you. It means I am opening a door you once locked for fear of inner night. But the light is on now. Darkness has its shape, but not its power. There are things you have never spoken to anyone, not because no one would listen, but because your heart was not yet convinced it deserved to be heard gently. Today I say your heart is worthy. Your wounds are worthy of being washed by loving hands, not judgment. The tears you once mistook for weakness were really signs of a soul softening to receive new life. No one grows by hardening. The truly strong are those who know where to melt. There were moments you thought you had to pretend not to hurt in order to keep peace. But peace does not come from the absence of pain. Peace comes when you no longer hide from yourself. Look at the fear you once avoided. Not to crush it, but to see it is not greater than I am. Look at the doubt that once exhausted you. Not to condemn it, but to see it is only dust on glass. Not your identity. Your identity is the light I placed in you, not the winds that once blurred the surface. You once asked, "Why do I feel alone even when someone is beside me?" And I answered, because your soul heard heaven's call before your lips ever formed words. You are not lonely. You are being set apart from noise, so you may receive truth. When you begin to hear me clearly, other sounds fade, not because you lose people, but because you find your essence again. These shifts make your heart tremble like a string being tuned. Trembling does not mean breaking. Trembling means alignment, and you are aligning with my rhythm. Do not be surprised when what once delighted you no longer satisfies. Do not fear if things you once pursued now feel too small to hold. This is not apathy. This is the maturing of your soul's appetite. When one tastes truth, it becomes difficult to return to artificial light. There is a part of you that once whispered, "If I change, will anyone recognize me?" And I say, those who are meant for you will recognize. Those who are not will fade. Do not shrink into your old shape so others can feel safe. They, too, need to see the awakened version of you, for it opens doors for their own season. Do not apologize for growing. Do not apologize for no longer fitting what once fit. The quiet you are entering is not emptiness. It is a holy room where I am rearranging breath and thoughts and desire. It may feel both light and uneasy at the same time. Uneasy because you leave what was familiar. Light because you leave what was too small. This tension is not error. It is a root pulling free from old soil. Look at what you once held because you feared loss. I am whispering a gentle question: does it nourish you, or simply keep you occupied? Some things you held, not out of love, but out of fear of having nothing without them. But you do not stand on emptiness. You stand on my hands. There are people you once believed would walk to the end with you, but I appointed them only for a stretch. No one can betray my plan unless you let go of my hand to hold them instead. I do not remove you from someone's life to punish them or you. I only lead you into places where love is not suffocated by fear or expectation. Where you are going, love will be light. Giving will be abundant. Trust will be deep. You do not need to beg anyone to stay. What is truly beautiful stands through time. Sometimes your heart feels too quiet, and you worry something is wrong inside. Nothing is wrong. You are entering a depth where voices need not shout to be sure, where you need not cry out to be heard, and need not strain for me to come. I was there before your first thought rose. Look inward, not outward. Outside may shake, but inside will stand. And when inside stands, outside follows. You are learning not to react with panic, but to respond with breath. You are learning not to choose based on fear of loss, but on knowing you are held. This is not the journey of the impressive. This is the journey of the belonging, and you belong to me. I am teaching you a rare thing, tender strength. You are soft toward heaven, therefore unshakable before earth, not to prove yourself, but to carry light through shadow without becoming shadow, not to rise above others, but to remain yourself amid noise. Today you need only one thing: be honest with yourself in me. Not honest to be judged, but to be healed. Not looking at wounds to cling to them, but to let me touch them. Some places will sting when light enters, but that is not the sting of loss. It is the sting of resurrection. My child, there are battles louder than swords and yet truer than any war outside. Not steel, not gunfire, not crowds shouting. The battle I am leading you through lives in thought, in motive, in every quiet choice where no one sees. It is a battle where heaven applauds in silence as you endure each breath. You do not wrestle with flesh and blood. You are learning to discern my voice from fear's voice, from the old self who once demanded control. Darkness will whisper, "You are alone. You are weak." But you know truth, you have never stood alone. When you breathe in me, even silence becomes a weapon. For silence is not defeat. Silence is knowing who stands with you. There are nights when your soul feels drawn like a bowstring about to release, and your mind wants to run back to familiar places though they no longer fit. Do not blame yourself for that reflex. The body remembers what is old, but your spirit remembers what is new. That pull is not failure. It is proof you are crossing into new territory. Every entrance into true light stirs the darkness, but it has no authority. Not because you overpower it, but because my power reigns within you. Do not fight by fear, fight by stillness. Do not try to prove, simply remain. Remain in me. When you choose stillness in me in the face of agitation, that is victory. When you refuse the old reflex to protect yourself and choose to forgive instead, that is victory. When you do not respond out of fear but rest in who you are to me, that is victory. Remember this. My child, the enemy does not fear your loud cry. It fears your heart still believing when you cannot see the way. It fears endurance. It fears the tears that rise and fall in silence, for they wash the battleground. It fears that you do not speak in your own name, but in mine. One blow thrown in anger is not as powerful as one whisper spoken in me, just as a river does not need to shout to carve stone. Your quiet perseverance is engraving truth into realms the human eye cannot yet see. You do not need to win the victory. You only need to stand inside the victory I have already sealed. I know there are days when spiritual weight feels heavier than earthly weight. When you ask, "Why me?" I say, "Because you belong to me. You were not thrown into battle. You were placed in honor. You are among the souls chosen to serve as watchtowers, trumpets, conduits of light before its revealing. But you do not have to strain to become a weapon. You are a weapon when you rest in me. Let me fight in you. Let me protect the parts of you not yet able to protect themselves. Let me speak for you when your heart has not yet found the words. And I say this not as a king commanding, but as a father drawing you against his chest and whispering, 'Do not fear.' Do you hear it? This silence is not emptiness. It hums with life. It is heaven's strategy. Humanity loves noise because noise feels like strength. But I am teaching you true strength sits in illuminated stillness. The weak make noise to calm their fear. The strong only need a steady breath. Do not chase echo. Stand rooted. Those who have roots do not fear wind. And you have roots. For I planted you. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. You do not merely memorize this verse, you breathe it as your spiritual pulse. This battle will not take you, it will position you. It will not harden your heart, it will teach your heart what is worth trembling for and what deserves your stillness. You will find yourself reacting less, not because you are numb, but because you discern what voice deserves entry and what whines must pass. You will see that not every word deserves your heart, and not every surge deserves to become a storm. You are learning to breathe in fire, and that breath is your anthem of victory. You are beginning to discern what is an attack of the enemy, and what is my refining, and that knowing removes fear. For when I refine, it is love. When the enemy strikes, I stand between you and harm. You do not fight by tension. You fight by knowing who holds the balance. Not by doing more, but by believing deeper. Do not mistake stillness for the absence of war. Stillness is the highest war. It is where you cease flinching at waves, and your worth stops rising and falling with the weather of circumstance. Anchored only in the breath I place within you, you slow your pace, not because you are weak, but because you will no longer flee from what I ask you to face. And that more than anything discourages the darkness. It can no longer make you run. You do not run, you stand. You do not force victory, you enthrone me. Now, my child, I do not require you to understand. I ask only that you trust this battle did not begin with you and will not end with you. I am the beginning and the end, and you are the beloved in the middle. Through shaking, through unspoken accusation, through fleeting doubt, one truth stands unmoved: I am your refuge. When you are weak, I am strong. When you are tired, I hold you. When you do not know, I know. This is not the battle that breaks you. This is the battle that brings you back home. Beloved one, I see your heart slowing into peace. The weight that once churned is loosening because you let me touch it. I know there were moments you thought I stood far, moments you believed you had to hold yourself together, to be strong, to fight alone. But no, you were never designed to stand alone. I did not choose you to watch you struggle. I chose you so you would learn the place that never moves, so that even if the world calls it weakness, heaven calls it trust. Some tears do not fall to the ground, they fall into my hands, and not one tired breath is lost on me. You are not left behind. Never. Let your heart rest in my arms. Do not brace against the future. Do not try to control what you cannot yet see. I'm going ahead not one step, but infinite. You only need to walk in the light of this moment. No one is stronger than the one who knows how to rest on my shoulder. No one is deeper than the one who bows in love, not before fear, but before the one who has overcome. You think softness makes you fragile, but softness makes your heart fertile for my seeds. The rigid break, the tender grow. Hear me, and let this settle beneath your ribs like a hidden heartbeat. You belong to me, not by label, but by breath, not by habit, but by lifeblood. You are not lost. You are not dim. You are not late. I am writing your story with the patience of a father and the wisdom of a king. What you thought was lost, I am redefining. What you thought was ending, I am digging around so it rises unshakable. Your trembling is not weakness, it is your sensitivity to the holy. There are seasons where I let you quiet, where you think you've been extinguished, but in truth, I am pruning. When I prune, you feel empty, but heaven sees bloom. When I remove, it is not to deprive you, but so nothing can block what I am about to pour. Do not fear the silent space between winds. In that silence, I give roots. In that stillness, I inscribe your name deeper. When the world demands action, I teach you to abide. When they run, I teach you to hear heaven's pace. And you are hearing, even if you do not yet recognize the sound as your own. I affirm you today, not because you did everything right, but because you returned. You turned your gaze back to mine, and that alone is enough for me to carry the rest of your journey. Do not force yourself to shine. Simply do not cover the light I placed within you. Do not strive to impress. Simply be true in me. For truth does not need effort to echo. Let your heart rest in my hands. Breathe as one who has nothing to prove. You are loved not because you achieve, but because you belong. And belonging is a glory no one can take. When you are weak, I do not step back. When you are afraid, my gaze does not change. When you doubt yourself, I do not doubt the work I am forming in you. I am strengthening your wings, not to keep you on the ground, but so you may rise, not by worldly winds, but by the wind of my spirit. You think you must understand to move, but truly you only need to trust that I am leading. No one is loved the way I love you. No one is held the way I hold you. Let my love be the place you breathe, not the height you strive to reach. Now listen to what I lay upon your soul like warm oil on your forehead. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. You do not walk alone. You are being lifted. My hand rests upon your shoulder, and the mantle I place over your soul is a garment that keeps the fire. You did not come merely to survive. You came to carry a new season through your life. I speak to you not with thunder, but with breath. Stand gently, unhurried, yet certain. You will pass through shaking without shaking, for you walk with me. You will see the old fall away without regret, for you know new seasons do not begin by clinging to the past. Now I speak over your soul, peace overflowing, flame steady, eyes bright, heart soft, feet firm, ears awake, mouth carrying my breath, not to condemn, but to call life forth. You are not here to hide from storms. You are here to walk through them with me and emerge carrying oil for others. I did not send you to fight alone, but to walk with hosts of angels guarding your path. I place on you the anointing of one hidden to be used, not to display, but to rescue. So walk as one who has heaven in their bones. Live as one whose Father stands beside them. And know that from this moment, you are not only kept, you are commissioned. Beloved one, now let your heart settle like a leaf released from the wind, resting upon still water. You have heard the warning, felt the stirring ahead, and your soul has stood firm in my word. But now, let your heart touch my warmth. No hurry, no fear, no need to understand it all. The world teaches you to grasp, to run, to prove, but I teach you to breathe, to lean, to know that peace is greater than striving. You do not carry the universe in your hands. You only need me to carry you, the rest is mine. And in this stillness, you will hear me more clearly than ever. I know there were nights you held your breath from weariness. I know the moments when no one seemed to truly understand you. There are wounds no one has seen, but I have. There are silences no one heard, but I listened to your trembling heart. Do not be ashamed of your tenderness. You are soft, not because you are weak, but because you are alive. Living hearts feel pain, but hearts that belong to me never break without purpose. Every tear you shed in quiet has watered the soil of your soul. You are not breaking, you are being shaped, not abandoned, concealed for protection, not extinguished, banking fire for the appointed time. You think you move slower than others, but truly, you are walking to heaven's rhythm, not the world's urgency. When I desire depth, I slow you. When I desire endurance, I still you. When I desire you to see me clearly, I take you where human noise cannot reach, where only my breath remains. Fear not silence. In silence I lay foundations. In silence I change hearts. In silence I hold your soul and speak. What noise never can you belong to me? And I will not let you go. Release the questions you do not yet need answered. Lay down the need to explain everything. Do not chase the world's certainty. You have a deeper certainty, my presence. Not every great step makes sound. Sometimes the greatest step is standing still in me. Others run to prove value. You rest to remember where your value comes from. That rest is strength. That rest is declaration. My Father is here, and I lack nothing. You thought victory came from doing much, but the first victory is allowing me to hold you. True strength is not in the shoulders, but in the heart. When you release your shoulders and lay your head on my chest, you enter a strength no storm can touch. The world sees rest as weakness, but heaven sees rest as depth. People seek control, you seek the Father, and you are right. For with me, you do not fear losing anything. No one can take what I place within you. No one can stop what I lead you into. You may not see, but I am clearing the path quietly. There were fears that once whispered, if you do not hold, you will lose. But I say, you keep by giving to me. When you release, you do not fall, you fall into my arms. When you let go, you do not lose, you are freed. And when you rest in me, I fight battles you never see and never need to see. Do not worry about the future. I already stand in it and prepare your place. Do not cling to the past. I have touched it and turned it into soil for your growth. You walk in the present, and the present holds me. Therefore you are safe. Listen to this and let it rest like a small lamp in your heart. Peace does not come because everything outside is right. Peace comes because I am right. It is not the absence of trials that creates rest. It is my presence that creates rest. There are nights when you only breathe and whisper, Father, I am tired, and I count that as the most beautiful prayer. I do not need ceremony. I need real. I do not seek polished sentences. I seek a heart that comes as it is. You are not here to perform. You are here to be with me. And that brings me more joy than the loudest sermon. Now release the dreams you have held so tight that they hurt you. Not to lose them, but to let me reshape them and return them to you more beautiful. Release the relationships you tried to keep even when they no longer held life. I will place the right people in the right season. Release the idea that you must be perfect for me to use you. If I only used the perfect, I would have chosen no one. You think I need your strength? No. I need your presence. When you are here, I do what you cannot. When you believe, I do what no one imagines. When you sit close to me, I change the entire sky inside you. You are not lost. Slow is not lost. Quiet is not forgotten. Stillness is not abandonment. I am gathering every part of you, not to scatter you, but to make you more whole than ever. And while you rest, I am building you into a dwelling of my presence, not a place blown by the wind of life. You do not need to shine loudly. The peace within you will make others recognize that heaven is near. When others panic, you will rest. When others fear, you will breathe. When others seek noise, you will seek my breath. That is the difference of those who belong to me. Let your breath become prayer. Let each heartbeat become silent worship. No many words, no rigid ritual. Only this: be here with your Father, and you will feel every heavy layer fall from you like dust shaken from a coat at dusk. I am softening your heart again. I am washing your soul not with roaring waves, but with a small, steady stream that finds every dry corner. I leave no place untouched. I overlook no pain. You belong to me entirely. Not only the beautiful parts, and I love you entirely. Not only when you are strong. Now you may close your eyes or keep them open. It does not matter. What matters is you open your heart. Hear me in your own breath. You are not alone. You are being held. You are being healed. And from this stillness, I will raise you, not rushed, not pressured, like the sun rising after nightfall, right on time, unstoppable. You will walk not as one afraid to lose, but as one who cannot be taken out of the Father's hand. You will live not to prove, but to reveal what I have planted in you from eternity. And you will see stillness is strength, softness is foundation, and belonging is power. Beloved child, now let me lead your soul slowly, like a father guiding a little one through a morning garden where dew clings to leaves, where light has not yet hurried upward, and everything whispers that life begins in quiet, not in noise. Sometimes, just hearing warm water fall into a morning cup is enough for me to say, you are entering this day not by your strength, but by my breath filling you. I am not far from the small things. I am inside them. I am in the way you tie your shoelaces gently, in the way you open the window and let good wind touch your face, in the way you prepare tea and hold the warm cup like protecting a quiet hope. I stand there. In every simple movement the world rushes past, but I pause to be with you. There are days you cook alone and feel a little empty, yet the soft kitchen light turns that room into a sanctuary more than you realize. The scent of sautéed onions, the quiet bubbling of the pot, the gentle warmth spreading over the stove, all whisper that you have never drifted through this world aimlessly. I have been here before the morning began, watching you stir the pot with patience. You did not know heaven calls beautiful. You are not strong because you never bend. You are strong because you choose gentleness over hardness, choosing to continue instead of quitting, choosing love though sorrow once touched you. You think it is ordinary, but to me, it is quiet glory. I see you when you wash the last cup and place it on the rack. Though no one praises you, no applause fills the room, yet heaven smiles, because I know this is not simply tidying. It is you caring for the small world I entrusted to you with reverence for my gift. And when you pull the chair, sit down, exhale softly, and do nothing for a moment. That is when I hold your soul. I do not love you for the grand things you do. I love you because you make room for me, even in a blink of quiet with half-closed eyes in the middle of the day. Sometimes I see you walking down the apartment hallway, carrying a bag of trash or groceries, feeling small among shut doors and unfamiliar lives. And I whisper, I walk with you, because I do not wait for you to enter a church to appear. I am present in the elevator where you stand for a few still seconds between floors, where the world sees only transit, but I see a place between earth and heaven. Each floor opens to a different life, but where you stand is holy, because you stand with me. You do not need to do something extraordinary to make me proud. You only need to keep your heart open to me the moment the weight of the day tries to sit on your shoulders. You only need to choose gentleness when another chooses harshness. You only need to gather the pieces of your heart and place them in my hands instead of stitching them with worry. That is the greatest worship, surrender so soft, so quiet, so true it reaches the bone. My beloved child, when you are driving and the red light stops you, remember that pauses are not delays. Sometimes they are heaven breathing for you. I see the way your eyes glance at the rearview mirror, not to fix your hair, but almost instinctively searching for where you are, who you are, whether you are all right. And I want to say you are all right because you are in me. You do not need everything outside to line up for you to be at peace. You rest first, and everything else follows. Peace is not the prize after solving life's puzzles. Peace is the starting gift I place in you when you sit with me the way a child sits on a soft rug and is not expected to answer a single question. When you fold laundry and place each piece into the drawer as though it were a small ritual. You do not know heaven watches that tenderness. Love is not only found in grand gestures or loud declarations. Sometimes it is found in hands arranging ordinary things with quiet gratitude. And I look at you the way a father looks at his child folding a blanket for the first time. Not because you do it perfectly, but because you are learning to live more beautifully, more intentionally, more gently. I am proud of you, not because of the standards the world uses, but because your heart has stayed soft even when life tried to harden it. There are evenings when you sit by the window and watch sunlight withdraw from the wall, and you think you haven't accomplished as much as others. But I see what you have accomplished that the world cannot measure. You have kept light in your eyes even when tears sometimes filled them. You have kept trust even when understanding lagged. You have kept kindness even when it was not returned. And you have kept a quiet flame burning, not loud enough for the world to applaud, but bright enough for me to hear you say, "Yes, Father, I will keep going." I do not ask you to be perfect. I ask you to be true with me. I do not ask you to always be strong. I ask you to return to me each time you are weak. My love is not built on your capacity. My love is built on my nature. When your heart grows tired, do not force yourself to look strong. Lean into me like a child leaning into their father at a crowded station. The child does not know the map. They only know the one holding them. And that is enough. You do not need to know every turn ahead. You need only know whose hand holds yours. Sometimes, when you rinse strawberries under cold water and the chill tingles your fingers, I whisper, I am rinsing your heart that gently and that deeply. You do not see it. But each drop is lifting away old fears. Each stream is washing off quiet self-blame. And each motion today is healing places you once thought could never be whole again. Healing does not always arrive with trumpets. Sometimes it is a tiny stream, an invisible embrace, a night where you did not cry even though you thought you would. That was me. And when you turn off the lights, pull the blanket, rest your head on the pillow and your soul still trembles a little. I place my hand over your mind. No one sees it, but heaven pays attention. I lay peace over you like a second blanket, not peace for the strong, but peace for those who dare to breathe before me. I keep you through the night, not because you prayed impressively, but because you belong to me. Your spirit does not wander when you sleep. It rests in my hand. And in the morning, when you open your eyes, you do not just wake up in a room, you wake up in my embrace. Now, my child, let me take you into deeper stillness, where the world's noise fades like evening light withdrawing from a wall, and only your breath meets mine. Sometimes you think you need answers, but what you really need is peace. Sometimes you believe direction must come before you can stand, but there are seasons when I simply ask you to stand in me. And I, myself, am direction. I am not asking you to run, nor to strain for greatness. I am asking you to place your hand on your chest, feel your heartbeat, and know that I am holding each beat. There are truths not meant to be analyzed, but lived slowly, soaked into your being like the warmth of my hand resting on your forehead now. When you step into the bathroom in the morning and soft light touches the mirror and you see a face still a little tired, I whisper, I still choose you, not because you are always full, but because I am the one who fills. Not because you always shine, but because my light in you does not depend on the alertness of your eyes, but on the openness of your heart. Even when you splash cool water on your face and a faint clarity rises in you, that too is me waking what hope was sleeping beneath worry. You do not begin your day with strength, you begin it with grace. Sometimes your hand trembles as you brush your hair and your heart sinks a little, and I smile at you through every strand you smooth down. I do not wait for you to be flawless to love you. I love you. And that love is what shapes you. You think weakness shows in a sigh or a lingering stillness before facing the world. But only honest souls dare pause. Pausing is not failure. Pausing is believing I am doing what you cannot. It is the quietest, bravest faith. When you open the door and step into the hallway, footsteps echo. Warm light falls on the floor, and life begins to hum with sound. I walk with you like peace draped over your shoulders. You do not see, but angels walk before and behind, not to display power, but so you are never alone in moments that seem ordinary but are deeply holy. I am not only in grand encounters, I am in the way you lock your door and turn the key a heartbeat slower because worry brushed your chest. And I say, it's all right. I am here. You see people rushing, cars streaming, horns sounding, voices rising, the day rushing downward like a river. But you are a bearer of peace, not because you step away from life, but because you carry a different river. As you walk down the steps and sunlight touches the edge of your sleeve, I use that light to mark your spirit. You are not stepping out into emptiness. You are sent, not scattered. There is a difference. When you arrive at work or school and set your bag down, the first thing your mind does is not always think of tasks, but check whether your heart is still quiet enough to live kindly. And I honor that, for I did not send you to succeed by the world's measure. I sent you to carry the atmosphere of heaven. When you offer a soft smile to someone weary, when you speak a small and honest word, when you choose not to contend or prove yourself, heaven touches earth through you. You think it is mere courtesy, but I see a spiritual victory without trumpets. When someone speaks carelessly and it stings your heart, when you feel slightly out of place among the world's rhythms, do not call yourself weak. You are sensing the things of heaven. Numb hearts do not ache. Only awakened hearts feel. And I wipe every sting with my unseen hand. You were not made to be steel. Unable to feel, you were made holy. To tremble and still be unburned. Do not be ashamed of softness. Steel breaks, but sacred silk can hold fire without burning when I am within it. There are midday moments when you eat alone. Place your spoon down. Glance around. And a thin thread of loneliness slips in, and I sit across from you, not to drown your solitude with noise, but to teach you companionship that needs no sound. You eat. I watch you with a tenderness like candlelight in an ancient sanctuary. And there, you are fed not only by food, but by presence. If you knew what happens in heaven each time you choose peace instead of bitterness, you would never call yourself small again. When day fades and the last blue light touches the wall, you pull the curtain open and feel a gentle wind, and the papers on the desk tremble slightly. And you wonder, have I done enough? Am I still on the right way? I come close to your heart and say, you are not loved because you are enough. You become enough because you are loved. What you seek is not achievement. It is breathing rightly in me. Your journey is not measured by outcome. It is measured by how much you still trust me when night settles. And at night, when warm water fogs the mirror and your breath softens, I stand there in the steam and lay peace on your shoulders like a thick towel. You step out, wipe your face, change into rest, thinking you are simply getting ready for bed, but you are putting on my peace. You climb into bed, lay your head down, and I lie beside your soul, not leaving, not letting you sleep in silence, but in my arms. 3 more pass. But in this moment when your heartbeat slows, I whisper, you are safe, my beloved. Now let me take you deeper, where images are no longer images, but doors. Picture a forest once barren, branches broken, leaves dry, soil cracked from long waiting. Then rain arrives, not loud, but like breath before dawn, drop by drop, gentle yet unending. So is your soul when I water it. You do not need storms to revive. You need the patience of a love that never tires. You once thought yourself a seed buried and forgotten, but seeds are not buried to die. They are placed to bloom. Darkness is not a grave, but a cradle. I know you cannot yet see the sky from that depth. I know you hear the weight of soil, the whisper of doubt, the ache of waiting. But the moment roots start to open, light above has already begun to smile. Everything I do has a time. No silence of mine is abandonment. See your soul like a small lamp in a large room. Darkness crowds and seems to win, seems vast, seems ready to swallow. But darkness has no roots. Light does. Your flame may look small, but darkness cannot define it. And with one breath of mine, with one quiet movement no ear hears, that flame rises like dawn pushing up behind mountains. Do not fear smallness. Heaven's greatness begins in lamps that endure. There will be days you stand like one at the edge of the sea, waves rising again and again, and your heart tires thinking you must fight each surge. But I say you are not fighting the ocean. You are learning to stand. Waves are not enemies. They are reminders that strength is not in emptying the sea, but in learning to breathe with my rhythm in the storm. You cannot push the waters back, but I teach you how not to be carried away. And whoever stands in rough water will walk on calm water. Sometimes you are like a tree after winter, bare, branches exposed. People look and think it is over, but I do not count leaves. I count the sap still moving. I do not judge the season by the surface. I see the season beneath. Stripped seasons are not failure. They are when I harden your wood, deepen your roots, weave your life into my river so the storm cannot uproot you. Do not fear when nothing shines outwardly. What I build in silence endures longest. And if your heart feels like an old house, paint peeling, walls cracked, wind slipping through, I do not demolish, I restore, not with loud hammers, but with hands touching brick by brick, like a potter with treasured clay. You are not an abandoned project, you are a sanctuary. I am preparing for deeper indwelling. I am not hurried, for I do not build temporary things. I am making holy ground in you. See yourself as a river in its low season. People see little water and assume weakness. But a riverbed revealed is not shame, it is repair. Low water is not lack, it is excavation. It is when I scoop the silt, strengthen the foundation, reveal bedrock. And when the waters rise again, they will flow unblocked. You have not diminished, you are deepening so that nothing can hinder you later. Picture a bird in unfamiliar wind. Headwinds are not sent to throw you down, they lift your wings. When the gusts hit and you think you are losing, it is then I teach you to fly with heaven's strength, not your own. Every soul I call must learn to rise in contrary winds. For I did not birth you to skim low. I formed you to know the sky. And you, remember this, every dark night you ever walked through was not proof of my absence, but proof that I held you so you would not break. If darkness had planned to erase you, you would not be here this morning. The fact that you still breathe, still feel, still remain tender, still seek me, that is victory. Do not ask why I allowed you into the night. Look instead at how I led you out. Darkness is never the final story. Light does not only win, it returns every morning. Without trumpets, with just one quiet beam through the curtain. Beloved child, now let every word before this settle like waves retreating from shore, leaving behind smooth, wet sand and a few small footprints leading into peace. You do not need to understand everything I have said, simply let it remain in you like warmth left after a long embrace. Some things do not enter through logic but sink into the depths of the heart like a pebble falling into a lake, disappearing from sight yet still rippling the water. That is how I am working in you. Not flashy, not rushed, not loud. A real God does not need thunder to prove himself. He proves himself when the heart grows calm before the world does. Now take a breath, unhurried. Let your lungs remember they were created not to tighten in fear, but to open to life. I see when your chest softens even slightly, when your shoulders drop half an inch, when your eyes become damp and gentle like water warmed by sunlight. That is when I touch. I do not wait for long prayers. I wait for your heart to exhale and whisper, Father, I am here. And when you say that, I say, I am here too. And we meet in the middle of the silence. Sometimes you ask, but what should I do next? And I answer, stay here with me a little longer. In my kingdom, presence is action. Sometimes the greatest work you can do for your soul is to not run, not to fix, not to analyze right and wrong, but to sit and let me gather the scattered pieces in you like a father picking up the small stones his child dropped in the yard. You think you missed something, but with me there is no miss. With me there is only return. Remember this, the season where you seem quiet and forgotten. Heaven calls that the season of roots. No tree grows wild and frantic. No soul becomes deep by living on the surface. I am not building you into a neon sign to catch attention. I am building you into fire that warms the cold and light that guides the trembling. Your light is not meant to dazzle. Your light is meant to heal. And when you remember the words that hurt you, the doubtful looks, the moments you were misunderstood, know this each time. I was sewing another layer into your soul. Not armor to harden you against love, but a thick cloth to keep your tender heart warm against the cold wind. Those who love deeply have known pain, but those who love deeply with me turn pain into anointing oil. If there are moments you look in the mirror and feel unlike the person you once dreamed of becoming, listen, I am not recreating you according to old dreams. I am shaping you for heaven's design. Some dreams were born from fear of inadequacy, not from calling. I am washing away what was never yours, not because you were wrong, but because you were destined for more. When I remove something from your hand, I am not emptying you, I am freeing your hand to receive something else. Remember those evenings when sunlight scraped across the wall and your heart felt empty. It was not emptiness, it was cleansing. There is a difference. Emptiness lacks. Cleansing prepares. And what I am doing in you is not removing love, but removing impurities that keep love from soaring. Child, if you feel a strange peace sometimes, even though nothing outside has changed, that is the clearest sign I am dwelling deeper. Peace does not wait for conditions. Peace creates conditions. Peace does not follow solutions. It precedes them. It is me laying a holy foundation inside you so that later, no matter the trembling, your soul will stand, warm and steady, knowing, I belong to my Father. I do not love you to hold you down. I love you to lift you into the wind of heaven, and I will keep shaping you, not with a whip but with a whisper, not through pressure but through warmth, not through threat but through holy joy. And you will change, not because you must, but because you are being transformed. Beloved, now we step softly into a deeper realm, where the soul hears what the ears cannot, not because the voice changes, but because you have listened long enough to hear the sound beneath your thoughts. Some battles do not occur on earth but in unseen realms. No one sees the arrows of doubt, yet your soul feels them. No one sees the hand of darkness trying to lay mist over your faith, yet your heart notices when your breath becomes heavy. And I am there not so you fight alone, but to remind you you do not battle alone. When a cold shiver passes your back, though your room is still, it is not imagination, it is the sign you are sensitive to the spiritual. Sensitivity is not weakness, it is the proof you belong to the light. The world mocks what you feel, but heaven honors it. People say, it's just emotion. But I say it is the radar I placed within you to read the atmosphere. When you enter a place and your heart tightens without reason, do not blame yourself. That is the Spirit saying, slow down. When you look at someone and your soul knows they are not true, even if their words are sweet, that is not judgment, that is discernment. And discernment is not lack of love, it is protection for true love in you. There are nights you sleep while your spirit keeps watch because battles do not pause when your eyes close. That is when my angels stand at your bed, guarding your breath, catching the sighs you do not release. Some say sleep is only biology, but I created sleep so the soul may lie on my chest like a child resting on its father, hearing a heartbeat stronger than fear. When you are tired yet awake, it is not always weakness. Sometimes it is me keeping watch with you. Night reveals what is true, true fear, true hope, true me. Do you see it now? There are moments when one sentence from someone shakes your heart more than it should, not because you are too sensitive, but because that sound touched the spiritual string I am tuning inside you again. Others think you react from old wounds, but I know you react because that word carried no breath of life. I placed a filter within you. When something does not come from me, your heart knows before your mind does. Do not underestimate an anointed intuition. It is not mere feeling. It is proof that the Holy Spirit in you is living, not theory. You are not simply passing through life. You are one who carries an invisible influence. When you enter a room, the atmosphere shifts. When you pray silently, the wind of the Spirit changes direction. When you breathe in me, darkness loses footing, not by shouting, but by still presence. Darkness always tries to make you forget this, because the enemy fears not the loud warrior, but the peaceful one who stands in storms knowing they are held. Sometimes you ask, am I strong enough for spiritual things? And I say strength is not the absence of trembling. Strength is standing while trembling. You thought warriors always look bold, but heaven's warriors sometimes kneel in the night, tears falling unseen. And in that hidden moment, in battle's turn, you win not when you strike, but when you refuse to let go. Spiritual strength does not show in muscle, but in the ability to bow before me instead of panicking before life. When you hear a song and your heart heats suddenly, that is my fire touching the strings of your spirit. When you sit in silence and tears rise, not from pain but recognition, that is me touching a place words cannot reach. When you walk and suddenly feel someone needs prayer, that is not drifting emotion. That is me borrowing your eyes to see, your heart to beat, your breath to speak life. You are not emotionally intuitive. You are wired to heaven's frequency. My child, do not fear the whispers in the dark, nor strange thoughts when weary, nor silent waves of discouragement. Wherever darkness dares approach one I have chosen, there my light burns even stronger. Those tight-chested moments, those sudden constrictions of the heart, are not because darkness dominates. They are because I am pulling back a veil, showing you deeper battlegrounds. And you are being trained, not thrown. No soldier of heaven enters battle without learning to breathe through fear first. I do not desire your exhaustion. I desire your awareness. Awareness not to worry, but to recognize who walks with you. Not to fixate on the enemy, but to notice angels outnumbering shadows. Not to lose sleep, but to know your sleep is guarded by the one who never sleeps. Do not fear the unseen. You belong to the one who created it. Now let all I have spoken settle like warm ember coals after a bright flame, not fading, but glowing deep, sustaining your breath long after sound has ceased. I did not lead you through shaking so you would carry thunder forever. I led you so that when the earth shifts, your soul stands firm. Those who only know wind panic in calm. Those who heard me in storm recognize me even more in stillness. And you are entering that stillness now. Not stillness because life is easy, but because you have a hidden current in me. I do not want you to live in defense. I want you to live in discernment. Defense tightens, discernment rests. Defense looks everywhere for danger. Discernment looks in one direction for me. You are not called to fold inward in fear of being hurt again. You are called to walk forward knowing who walks with you. Yes, your past has cuts, but they no longer bleed. I have touched them. The place that once hurt is now where I seal peace. No one sees it, but heaven sees, and the enemy sees, and it cannot touch what I have marked as mine. Perhaps you feel a quiet peace now, unlike the peace you once tried to manufacture. This peace is like well water underground, low and sure, not boasting but unmistakably cool to those who come near. You do not need to shout to prove strength. You do not need to strain to prove endurance. You only need to breathe with me. This is the highest spiritual strategy of this season. The one who breathes right wins. The one who runs without breath collapses, even in paths that look glorious. Look again at your eyes now. The inner ones, not the outward. They are no longer frantic as before, no longer gripping everything to survive. They are open yet unafraid, waiting yet unhurried, seeing by heaven's rhythm, not anxiety's voice. Some will not understand. They will wonder why you stay silent when you could react. But you know silence is not surrender. Silence is when heaven speaks. And you are learning to listen not to answer men, but to respond to me. You do not need to prove you have matured in the spirit. Your maturity will shine through the fact that you do not collapse when others would. I shaped you not to make you noticeable, but to make you unbreakable. Unbreakable not because you are hard, but because you are soft in the right places, strong in the right ones, The heart soft in me cannot be cracked by stone. The heart hardened by the world breaks at a breeze. Now let me lay over you a new layer of quiet. Quiet not to hide. Quiet to see clearly and still choose gentleness. When someone wounds you, you do not answer with thorns, not because you cannot, but because you refuse to trade peace for a moment's victory. You know the cost of peace, and you choose to keep it. For peace is not something you stumbled into, it is the spoils of a soul that stands beside me rather than beside its reflexes. You are stepping out of the valley of testing, not because the testing has ended, but because something inside you has changed. When the foundation is firm, shaking no longer threatens. When roots are deep, wind only teaches the tree to sing. And you are about to walk into days like that. Not days without wind, but days where wind no longer makes you doubt, my love. Trials will no longer stir you to ask, Father, are you there? Instead, you will say, Father, you are doing something in me. That is true spiritual maturity, not flashy like noise, but beautiful like light just before dawn breaks. So remain in me like this. Do not rush. Do not try to appear. Only be true. Heaven does not anoint what is false. I breathe only into what is real, and you are becoming real again. Layer by layer, breath by breath, morning after morning, whispering, Father, today I still choose you. That alone makes hell tremble. It is not loud voices that shake the dark. It is small, steady faithfulness. It is a heart that refuses to abandon its Father. And now, as your breathing has softened, I gently lift your chin, not to make you stand in pride, but so you can look forward and see you are not standing in ashes. You are standing in new, sprouting ground. There is no hurry to bloom, no need to show color. Just root yourself a little deeper, and then, in my time, you will grow green again. No one understands the process, but everyone sees the result. You do not need to explain yourself. Heaven will do that. I am here, not far, not changing, never weary. My child, sit with me a little longer, like someone who lingers at the table, knowing the last bite will be sweetest. The path behind you did not stretch your spirit to breaking, it stretched it open. It was not to prove you strong, but to show you where your strength truly comes from. In all that I whispered, my greatest desire was not that you understand every word, but that you know you never walked alone. The season you are entering will not open with thunder, but with the quiet rhythm of a peaceful heart. True glory does not need display, it only needs presence. And it is already here, resting on you, around you, within you. You thought the battle tired you, but it was not the battle. It was the days when you tried to be strong the way the world teaches. Now you are learning strength as I teach it, strength through softness, victory through quiet, warfare through standing, progress through trusting. When you lay down the sword of striving and lift instead the breath of prayer, you become truly mine. When you stop trying to understand and begin longing to be led, you become a warrior of light. Many think spiritual maturity sounds like thunder, but I tell you, maturity often looks like dawn splitting night with a silent line of gold. Not everyone notices when it begins, but all see when it fills the sky. So it is with you. You are rising, without effort, without strain, without proof. True light does not announce itself. It only appears. And remember this, I did not leave you in battle, and I will not leave you when peace comes. Some seek me only in pain, but I choose you for both pain and peace. I am not the father only of crises. I am the father of every breath, every step, every ordinary day, every unseen moment, When you wash dishes without heaviness, I am there. When you walk slowly and your heart stays steady, I am there. When you look at the soft night outside your window and your soul settles though no one is holding you, it is me holding you. Now hear this deeper than every whisper before. You are not trying to belong to me. You already belong to me. Not because you always stand firm, not because you always choose right, but because my love does not change, and my mark on you does not fade. Some leave my arms because they run. You remain because I hold. If they misunderstand you, let them. If they doubt you, let them. Your identity is not carved by human lips. It lives on my heart, and I do not change my tone. In the new season, you will not walk by perfect answers. You will walk by presence. Not I know what to do, but my Father walks with me. So I do not fear. When you choose trust over clarity, heaven applauds. When you choose forgiveness over proof, heaven sings. When you choose gentleness over sharpness, heaven whispers. That one is mine, and I rejoice. Truly, I rejoice. Now let your inner eyes look farther ahead. Lies not only peaceful days, but meaningful days. Not rest without purpose, but peace with assignment. You will meet the weary, and your quiet will heal them. You will meet the confused, and your steady gaze will let them breathe again. You will meet those who believe they are broken beyond repair, and your tenderness will say without a word, I have never been the father of failure. That is how you will preach, not by mouth, but by presence. My child, I see the day you stand in places no one imagined, not for honor, but for my purpose. I see you lifting another even while your own heart is still mending. And I say, that one is mine. Honor is not in perfection. It is in faithfulness. And you are faithful, not because you never fell, but because every time you fell, you came home instead of hiding. Heaven calls that victory. Now hear this last word of this moment like a father's blessing on his child before sleep. There is never a moment I do not walk ahead of you. No arrow reaches you before I see it. No darkness arrives without my light arriving too. No trial comes without a doorway upward hidden inside it. You are not tested because I want you hurt. You are tested because I know you have grown, and I steady your feet while they still tremble. Now breathe. Slow. Deep. Do not chase answers. Do not stamp this moment with a conclusion. Let your heart know only this: you do not leave my presence. You carry it. You walk with heaven in your bones, and whoever carries heaven in their bones does not get lost, does not fall, and is never forgotten. May the Lord always remind you to live in His faith and love every day. Tap follow and turn on the bell so you do not miss the sacred messages He desires to speak to you. May God bless you. Amen.